So this particular video is going to cover Module 2, Topic A, where we're going to be adding rational numbers. And this is lessons 1 through 6 in Module 2. And they all have to do with coming up with the integer rules of addition. So I'm going to pretty much take all of these lessons and condense them all into one video. So the integer rules of addition say that if the numbers have the same sign, talking about positive and negative numbers, if both numbers are positive or if both numbers are negative, we add the two numbers together. If they have different signs, so one's positive, one's negative, then you subtract those two numbers. The answer of that problem, whether you add or subtracting, the answer will keep the sign of the larger number. So if one number is a negative 8 and the other number is a negative 2, the answer is going to be negative because that 8 is bigger number than the 2. If the problem is 8 plus negative 2, the answer is going to be positive because the 8 is still bigger than the 2 and the 8 was positive. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of examples that I have down right here. We'll see what I mean by this, and we'll also do the same, show it on a number line, how this problem works out. So for 4 plus negative 2, these signs are opposite signs, so we're going to go ahead and subtract those numbers and forget about the negative sign for right now. We're just worried about the numbers themselves. 4 minus 2. Well, 4 minus 2 we know is 2. And then we go ahead and look at the problem. Which one's the bigger number? 4 is bigger than 2, and it's positive, so our answer is also positive. Now let's see what that would look like on a number line. Now with a number line, obviously we're going to start at 0. Our first number is a positive 4. So a positive 4 means we're going to the right. We're going to go to the right 4 times from 0. So if I draw an arrow, it's going to be going from the right, going to the right from 0, 4 units. Then we're going to add to that. So we're at number 4 right now. We need to add to that a negative 2. Well, negative 2 means that we're going to the left 2 times. So from that 4, I'm going to go to the left 2 times. And you can see here that the end of that second arrow takes us to our answer, positive 2. Then with the next problem, we got a negative and a negative. So that means rather than subtract these numbers, we're going to be adding these numbers together. So 2 plus 4 is 6. Again, our bigger number is 4, and it's negative, so our answer is going to be a negative. So our answer here is negative 6. Now let's take a look over here at our number line. We're going to start at 0. Our first number is negative 2. So I'm going to go to the left 2 times. So now I'm sitting at the negative 2, but I need to add another negative 4 to that. So that's going to be 4 more spaces to the left. 4 more spaces to the left, and you can see that is 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4 takes us to our answer of negative 6. So we're going to go ahead and use those rules to solve these problems. Now, number 8 is a problem that we've been doing since kindergarten. These are 2 positive numbers. They're the same sign. We're going to add them together. So 6 plus 2 is 8. 6 is the bigger number. It's positive. So our answer is 8. Over to number 9, it's the same thing. We've got 2 positive numbers. So we're going to add those numbers together. And there's nothing wrong with doing the addition off to the side. So we got 3 plus 1 is 4. And then 7 plus 4 is going to give us 11. So the answer is going to be 114. But then we need to go back to the problem and figure out which one's the bigger number. Well, this one's bigger. It's positive. So my answer is positive as well. Then for number 10, we still have the same sign. We've got a negative and a negative. So that means we need to add these numbers together. It's going to be an 8. And the bigger number, we have to remember to go back to the problem and check this out every single time. Bigger number 6. So my answer is going to be negative because the 6 is negative. And then with the negative 73 and negative 41, kind of the same thing. We're going to add those numbers together. That gives us 114, but it's a completely different answer because our bigger number 73 is negative this time. So it'd be negative 114. Now with these problems, you can see that we all have opposite numbers. So we've got a 6 and a 2. One's positive, one's negative, so we need to subtract. 6 minus 2 is 4. Just like on number 14, it's going to be a 4 because it's two opposite signs. Just that the signs are on different numbers. On number 12, the 6 is the bigger number, and it is negative, so our answer is going to be negative. And on number 14, 6 is also the bigger number, but it's positive, so our answer is going to be positive. And if you want to check to see if those answers are correct, you can draw your number line and draw those arrows. So for number 12, it would go 2 to the right and then 6 to the left, and that would put you at -4. For number 14, it would go 2 to the left and then 6 to the right, which would get you at +4. For number 13, we've got opposite signs again. So this time we're not adding these numbers. We're going to go ahead and subtract them, because that's what our rule tells us to do. 3 minus 1 is 2. 7 minus 4 is 3. So our answer here is going to be 32. Our number down here is also going to be a 32. 73 is the bigger number, so our answer is going to stay positive. But right here, 73, our bigger number, is negative, so our answer is going to be negative. And then sometimes we have to add more numbers than just 2 to figure out an answer. So for this particular problem, during a 4-day tournament, golfers' scores are recorded each day. Scores are recorded as strokes over par. They can either be positive or under par, negative, or they can be at par, which would be a 0. The golfer's total scores are calculated by finding the sum of the scores over the 4 days. Here is one golfer over a 4-day period. We're trying to figure out what his score is. So if we take these numbers and add them together, we get -4 plus 1 plus -2 plus our last number on day 4 is a -3. Now, we can't just do all of these numbers all together like we would in a first grade addition problem with 4 and 5 numbers. We have to take this step by step, piece by piece. So the first problem that we're going to do is the first one, obviously. Order of operations tell us that if we got the same symbol, we need to work from left to right. So for this problem right here, we have two opposite signs, meaning that we have to subtract. So 4 minus 1 is 3. The 4 is the bigger number, and it's negative, so that means my 3 needs to be negative as well. And then I'm going to copy down on everything that I didn't mess with yet. Then the next problem that we're going to look at is the first one right here. This -3 plus -2. So they have the same sign, so we need to add these numbers together. 3 plus 2 is 5. 3 is my bigger number, so it is negative, so my answer will also be negative. And then I bring down that last number that I didn't do anything with. These are the same numbers again, 5 and 3. -5, -3, same sign. So we're going to add those together. 5 plus 3 is 8. My bigger number is 5. It's negative, so my answer is negative, bringing this golfer score to a -8. And here you see we have some extra problems where we have to do 3 different numbers just like this. Go ahead and pause the video here. You can go ahead and work these 3 problems out on your own. And when you're done, come on back and I'll show you how to work these problems. So you can go ahead and pause that video now. So coming back to these problems, let's go ahead and work these out together. First problem that we have here is 11 plus a -6. Those are 2 different signs. So I'm subtracting. 11 minus 6 is 5. 11 is the bigger number. It's positive, so 5 stays positive. Plus a -7. These are 2 opposite signs, so I subtract. 7 minus 5 is 2. 7 is the bigger number. It's negative, so is my answer, -2. Over to number 19, we got -24 plus 10 comes up first. Those are 2 opposite numbers, so 24 minus 10 is 14. 24 is the bigger number. It's negative, so the answer is as well. Bring down this plus 8. We still have the opposite signs here, so we need to do 14 minus 8, which is 6. 14 is the bigger number. It's negative, so the answer is as well. And then the last one, number 20, we have a -5 plus 67. Those are 2 opposite signs. We subtract that. 67 minus 5 gives us 62. It's going to be positive because the 67 is positive and it's bigger. Plus a -33. We got to subtract this out. So off to the side, I'm going to go ahead and do 62 minus 33. Make this become a 12, borrowing from here. Then we got 12 minus 3 is 9. 5 minus 3 is 2. So my answer is going to be 29. 62 is bigger, so it's going to be a positive 29. So we don't always add whole numbers or whole number positive and negative. Sometimes we have to deal with decimals and fractions. And I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can do this, and you choose whichever way you prefer. So I like to call it the old-fashioned way. If we look at this problem, we see we've got a positive 3.4, a negative 1.4, which means I need to subtract these numbers. So I'm going to pretend like there's no negative number at all. I'm just going to go ahead and do 3.4 minus 1.4. When I subtract that, 4 minus 4 is 0, 3 minus 1 is 2. Bring my decimal down, I get an answer of 2. So I can put my 2 here. The bigger number is 3.4, it's positive, so my answer is positive as well. Another way we can do this problem is by breaking the numbers down. So if I take, I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite the problem. 3.4 plus a negative 1.4. And they put the negative numbers in parentheses so that people don't confuse the negative sign for a minus sign when you're typing. Because when you're typing on a computer, the only negative sign you can put is a minus sign. But whenever you're writing it, you can put the negative sign a little bit higher and it won't look like a minus. But another process of doing this is to break the numbers down. Take the whole number and break it apart from the decimal. So in doing that, 3.4 is a positive number, so I can break that apart and say 3 plus 0.4 makes 3.4. And I'm adding that to a number that is negative, so it would be negative 1 plus, and you can't forget this part, negative 0.4. That both those pieces, if the whole number is a negative, the whole decimal, if the whole thing's a negative, both pieces also have to be negative. So then if I go ahead and I want to put my whole numbers, because it's addition, order doesn't matter. I want to put my whole numbers together, my decimals together. So this is going to give me 3 plus 1 plus 0.4. Oh, I'm sorry, negative 1 plus negative 0.4. Now, something that you must know about numbers like this, adding positives and negatives, is that if you add a number and its opposite, so we're talking about 1 plus negative 1, 100 plus negative 100, 52 plus negative 52, that will always be equal to 0. Any number added to its opposite is always going to be 0. So you see right here, we have 0.4 plus negative 0.4. That's going to be equal to 0. Plus, we have 3 plus negative 1. That's going to be 3 minus 1, which is going to give us 2. And it's going to be positive because 3 is positive. And then 2 plus 0 is going to give us our answer, 2. So whichever method you prefer to do this with, you're more than welcome to. And go ahead and use this, whatever method you want, and go ahead and answer number 5. You can pause this video again. And the correct answers will be coming up shortly. So here are our answers for number 5, and I did in both different methods. 8.2 plus 1.2, those are two opposite signs. So I have to subtract, I get a 7. It's a negative 7 because the 8.2 is the bigger number. And then over with the other method where I split everything apart, I took negative 8, split it into negative 8 plus negative 0.2. Did the same thing with the 1.2, 1 plus 0.2. Put the whole numbers in the decimals together. Negative 0.2 plus 0.2 came out to 0. And then negative 8 plus 1 is equal to negative 7. This method, both of these methods also work with fractions. Remember, when you add and subtract fractions, you have to have a common denominator, which luckily both these problems do have. But if they didn't have a common denominator, we'd have to multiply the fractions to get common denominators. So let's go ahead and work number 11, thinking about common denominators. We have the same signs here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the work, pretend like there's no sign. So I need to add these numbers together. So it's going to be 1 1/3 plus 5 1/3. I'm I'm going to worry about the whole numbers first. And if you wanted to turn these numbers into improper fractions, you're more than welcome to. It's going to cause bigger numbers for you to have to deal with and then divide and all that other stuff. I like to do it like this, just working it out. So with the whole numbers, 1 plus 5 is going to be 6. And then 1/3 plus 1/3 is going to be 2/3. So that's me adding them together. Then I got to go back and look at the problem. What's the bigger number here? The 5, it's negative. So my answer is going to be negative 6 2/3. I could also split these problems apart as well, doing the same thing that we did the last time. So I would take negative 1 1/3 and make negative 1 plus negative 1/3 plus negative 5 plus negative 1/3. Put my whole numbers and my fractions together just like I did with the decimals. And then just go ahead and put them together just like I just finished doing in red here. Negative 1 plus negative 5, well, that gives me negative 6. Negative 1/3 plus negative 1/3, got to add all of that together. So that's going to give me a negative 2/3. And then negative 6 plus negative 2/3 is a negative 6 2/3. Go ahead and pause the video and you do number 12 the same way. Give you a couple of seconds and I'll put the answer up on the board. So in problem number 12, it takes a little bit of work if you want to do it this way. So you might want to turn it into improper fraction if that helps you out. But to show you what I did here, I went ahead and rewrote the problem, or wrote the problem the way it should be done, because there's two opposite signs, so we need to subtract. But I can't take 3 away from 2, so I had to rewrite the problem. Make it be 3 1/4 minus 2 3/4. And then I looked at it and I said, well, I can't take 3/4 right here away from 1/4, so I need more fourths there. So I took the 3 and I turned it into 2. I took that whole out. So the whole that would have made it that 2 become a 3. I took the whole out and wrote it as 4/4. And then put the 1/4 that was attached to that mixed number here. So really, all of this put together is just a different way to write 3 1/4. And then I put that 4/4 and that 1/4 together and created 2 5/4. Now I can go ahead and subtract that 2 3/4 from it. So looking at just the whole numbers, 2 minus 2, that's going to give me 0. 5/4 minus 3/4 is 2/4, or just simplified as 1/2. So our answer here is going to be 1/2. And then I look and the bigger number is 3 1/4. So it's going to be a positive 1/2. Doing the other method where we split it apart, I went ahead and did negative 2. Do that in a different color. Negative 2 plus the negative 3/4 plus 3 plus 1/4. Put my whole numbers and my fractions together. Looking at this problem right here, that's two different signs, so we subtract. We get an answer of 1. It's going to be a positive 1 because the 3 is bigger. And then looking at this problem right here, I need to subtract this because there's two opposite signs. So 3/4 minus 1/4 gives me 2/4. Or I can simplify that as 1/2, and it's going to be negative because 3/4 is bigger. So then I have 1 plus a negative 1/2. So I need to subtract that. So 1 minus a half is going to leave me with a half. The 1 is bigger, so my answer is going to be positive. Taking a look at these two problems, I want you to go ahead and pause the screen. Go ahead and solve these, whichever method you choose. I'm going to go ahead and do it the way we've been doing the problem the first way. And then you can come back and take a look at the answers again. So taking a look at number 13, we have we have the same sign, so we're going to be adding these numbers. So negative 4 plus negative 2 is going to give me, we're going to add those. So 4 plus 2 is 6. 1/4 plus 3/4 is going to give us 4/4. The 4 is the bigger number, so it's going to be negative. You can see that 4/4 is a whole, so it'd be better off just to write this number. 6 plus 4/4 is just going to give us 7. So its answer is negative 7. And then on the other side over here, we're going to subtract because we have two opposite signs. So 4 minus 3 is going to be a 1. 2/3 minus 1/3 is going to be 1/3. We can do it this way because we can take 1/3 away from 2/3. We don't have to change it like we did the problem before that. And then the bigger number is the 4 is positive. So our answer is going to stay positive. And that's everything that we have to do for this particular test. which you guys are going to have to make up. So I'm going to tell you what, once you finish this lesson, shoot me a comment down on Google Classroom where I put this video at. Let me know that you're ready for the test. I'll send you the test over. You're probably going to have somebody print it out for you. Take the test, turn it back in, and then they can email it back to me, and I can go ahead and get it graded. And then I'll post another video for the test after this that we took, where we subtracted. Currently, we are working on, today is the 17th of October. We already taken the addition test. We already took the subtracting test. We are now working on multiplying, and that multiplying test is coming up on the 19th on Thursday. So I'm just trying to get y'all caught back up. So shoot me a comment, give me a message, let me know when y'all ready to take these tests, and we can get it moving and get y'all caught up.